such an asshole.
We got a good follow-up question. I'm going to try and do it justice, but this is it's not necessarily a frontier of economic thought I've been at. It's one I know the many and myriad aspects of this mentality, life, philosophy. I just haven't crystallized it, organized it. So I apologize if my thoughts are not perfectly organized into an outline. So this guy sent in a request. If you go back a couple ago, he knows a guy who he suspects, and probably rightly so, his friend, former friend, is faking having schizophrenia so he can have mental illness, a disability, so he can collect disability. And he wanted to know my thoughts about it, and I talked about how that's very common because straight white males need an excuse too, right? Everybody else, skin color or gender or whatever gender you claim to have, or ethnicity or maybe even religion. But then the straight white guy's like, whoa, what's my disability? What's my victimhood key to the fruits of other people's labor? And not as conscious as that, but when they started pushing things like, "Ooh, you have ADHD. Ooh, you have the depressions. Ooh, you have social anxiety," and every guy, "I do. Is life easy? Is life put on easy mode if I have that? Okay." And so there's a huge financial incentive, at least here in the United States, uh, to like, "Oh yeah, I totally got the a touch of the tisms. Now give me my disability check, or at least give me lower standards and excuses, and give me my Adderall so I can go ahead and continue on in college high." So you said, and I said, "Yeah, the guy is miserable. These people are generally miserable. It's unethical, but if you were to take advantage of that naivete, it's not charity, it's naivete. Nearly all welfare, all government social programs are naivete." I said, "There's no moral qualm about it if you vote against such largesse in government welfare, if you take advantage of that, but as long as you're putting it towards productive ends." So, oh my God, Beauregard, I have a touch of the tisms. I need student aid, government assistance, free housing, whatever your state, federal, local government's like, "Oh my God, you do? Well, here's some other people's money." But as long as you are moving towards a larger overall productive thing, um, to get a job, get a career, get an education out of it, buy a house, something, then that would also, in my opinion, quell any additional guilt or remorse you might have over taking other people's money that you voted against, by the way. And so we addressed that, but he had a follow-up. He says, "Thanks to your response. While I did enjoy the video, I was more interested on your thoughts on him and his particular situation. And for people who collect welfare that are lazy like him and use it to perpetuate their laziness. I know you touched on that a bit during the video, but I was hoping you'd go into more detail. Please let me know any associated costs for a follow-up." And so I thought, okay, let's expand on this, because this is going to be increasingly so. It's already very prevalent in the Western world and South America, a couple countries. Oh, socialism, more free crap. So let me explain my true and honest opinion. I'm not saying this to make you feel better. If you wanted perhaps a more codified and structured thought process into it, go pick up, I linked to it below. It's an essay called "Sanity is the Future of Wealth." But let's go through this. These people are not alive. They are wasting their lives, and they are living miserable, insufferable lives. And I say that not to make you feel better, but because it's true. And the reason it's true is because we were not put here on this planet. I'm not talking even by God or I just, we're not here as human beings. We did not evolve over 2 million years of human evolution to sit on our asses and do nothing. Now, there is a strong biological component to doing that, because until very recently, food was not abundant. And so you have a strong genetic compunction or desire to be lazy, but only as so far as to conserve calories of energy. You are just as equally strongly programmed that when the opportunity comes, to get off your ass and go do something and pursue something. So there's a gazelle that runs by. It's a little weak. You're like, "Let's get it. Let's go." because that's your calories of energy. I'm trying to think of other opportunities. The warring tribe made a mistake camping at the bottom of a hill. Let's go get them. Let's stop them. And if you look through all of human history, yes, you are conserving energy, calories of energy, because food was scarce. But on an equal side, that when an opportunity came or when you had to defend yourself, humans would persevere and largely suffer. They would endure and they would become industrious. And so they got the laziness down, but they are not, whether you realize it or not, these people who collect welfare, whether legitimately or not, lie there and do not scratch that industrious work production itch. And you may say, oh, they're so happy living on welfare. I'm like, no, they're not. No, they're not. And to then show you, to bring evidence to you what kind of tortured, miserable life it is living on welfare, just look at it. All right. If you want to see the largest case, at least in the United States, of a welfare class where we just give the most amount of money on a per capita basis, go look at the American Indian reservations, and there are some that are successful. Of course, they got casinos, or they're farmers. They're working. They're industrious. They have purpose and agency. But Pine Ridge, just a little bit south of where I'm at, generally speaking, we don't talk about American Indians because because the media and Democrats focus on, oh, the black people. Okay, yeah, true. You want to see it even worse? Go look at the American Indians. They're poorer, and horrific standards of living. And the irony, at least to those who are just got barely a economics 101 understanding of economics, it's confusing. Well, we give them all this money, free housing, free education, you get a stipend, depending on, essentially reparations, which were agreed and negotiated in treaties. So, legit. But anyway, you're not going to see on a per capita basis a group of people getting more free money, essentially, than American Indians. But then you look at the consequences. And here you see the two not only diametrically opposed, but the two hardwire programs of human evolution, regardless of where you're from, because we're all starving 200 years ago, where if you satiate one, it comes at the expense of the other. And so when you get unearned money, and that's really what it is, and Turd Flinging Monkey was talking about this, but I was near the cusp, but he just got to it first. Unearned money or welfare, whatever its form, whether that's Section 8 housing, whatever, is the absolute worst drug, because like other drugs, it satiates you, but it puts you into non-production. You're high on heroin, you're just enjoying the hit. You're drinking booze, you're just drunk, right? And unearned money kind of almost has an added, not only does it feel good because you get the stimulus or the hit, like, oh, wow, I don't have to work. My labor is up, my problems are over. But then it also will allow and finance other bad hobbies as well, that don't make it good, don't make your life good. So while you're numbed and high off of that high money, you're also not then doing anything industrious with your life. And here's where everyone goes crazy. This is why depression, alcoholism, actual drugs, like it will, you want to talk about a gateway drug, it's welfare. That'll get you to the other drugs because it removed your purpose and agency in life. And no matter how much you don't like to admit it, getting up in the morning and working and supporting yourself, just survival, that gave you purpose and agency. It may have sucked, but it was something to do. Then as technology has come along, it's like, oh, well, now I don't have to go and chase whatever, buffalo, or hunt down the mammoth, or fight off the Persians. Now I can, I'm a blacksmith, I'm making this. Oh, there's other bits and things that we could pursue. We could have families, agricultural laws for a family unit. We could develop cultures and traditions. And what you find out is once you get past subsistence living, like I'm chasing the food to eat and survive, there are other forms of work that go beyond that. I become a professional, a craftsman, a tradesman. I'm the blacksmith, or I'm the horse guy. Going back several hundred years ago, I'm a soldier. But then there are other forms of work, furthermore, that, okay, yeah, you make money on it, but now we're starting to move into like, well, what are you doing for society? How do you interact with society? And like, okay, am I a cop? Am I the mayor? Am I a good citizen? Am I a good father? Am I a good mother? And this is how you participate in society or the village. And that work is what gave you meaning and purpose in life, not only to society, but psychologically, because over time, you work, you put in your time in the tribe. We became pair bonded, not only with the people we were married or committed to, but a familiarity with your tribe or loyalty to the tribe. You belong to something. All right. And that is what gave you purpose and meaning. And as technology has gone, it like the food stuff kind of takes care of itself. We labor less and less, which would put more of an emphasis more and more on, well, what kind of purpose and who am I? How am I interacting with the rest of society? What group of people do I belong to? And not like what team, but for your own psychological reward and benefit. Then if you go on welfare, well, now you have no incentive to put forth the work to one, survive, but more importantly, two, to become part of a productive, meritocratic, and fair society. And so what you see with groups of people, whatever it is, who collect welfare, they don't really have a loyalty to that whatever group, if you want to do it by race or religion or whatever else. If you're collecting welfare, you'll probably steal from other people. You're not exactly participating in society. You're not a good person. You're not productive. You're, by definition, you're parasitic if you're collecting welfare. And so you do not participate in any form of work. You are not industrious. You are of no value to any society you are physically located in or belong to. And because of that, no one is going to associate with you, which means what? You have no family, you have no tribe, you have no community, you have no belonging, and you have no life. And that's why these people are incredibly depressed. So you look at people who go on welfare, whatever form it is. And by the way, totally 100%. And it doesn't have the check doesn't have to come from government. If you're a trust fund baby, you see it happening. And so what do these people do? Well, they're too lazy to work, right? They're not going to go and work. So what do they resort to? They'll resort to other forms of purpose, value, and meaning in life. So the most obvious one will be drugs. And you can see that rife within the American Indian community. Unfortunately, because of genetics and the history, they didn't have the history of booze that Europeans and pretty much I think the rest of the world had. So alcoholism is rampant, but so are drugs and crime and all this other stuff. You look at the American Indians, unless they're like working hard, like they're at Mystic Lake Casino busting their ass off and everyone's kind of making money or they're farming. You go to like everyone's sad and depressed. No one's happy. All the money in the world, but not a single cent of happiness or contentment. And a ton of drugs and alcohol. Right. So there's a supplementation, there's a sublimation, trying to find some kind of alternative. You're starting to ingest things. I guess you could, if you want to like analyze it through the lens of race, the white equivalent, which is called Wyoming, it's your trailer trash community, right? How many of you watch Tiger King? I did. I hear it's kind of trash here. Oh, it's Wyoming. All right. But they're meth, alcohol, as well as the drug of choice, television. There's no real culture. Not really. But man, I remember going to Wyoming and it's just people drinking beer in their trailer parks. You know, you end up having sex. There's nothing else to do. You don't give a damn about the kid because the government will take care of that. And you just and you don't even like the kid and you're no one, because again, that would require work. So you're all wondering, like, if your mom was on welfare in Section 8, like, why did she use your social security number to open up a credit card in her name? Because she doesn't love you. That's why. Because it requires work to raise a child. And I'm trying to think of other things. Oh, okay. And let's go to the trust fund side, or where you have money. It's not a government check. But people who are just lazy, again, disproportionately white, but not relegated to this. But how many suburbanite princesses come in and they're not going to put any work in it? They're not going to major in the right thing. They're going to major in some holier than thou, sanctimonious leftist cause, of which they have no intention of actually doing anything about, but they're going to go major in easy crap. That's where ego comes into. I have a master's degree in what? Getting other people's money to fix a problem that won't be fixed? But again, Instead of being of value to society and working as an accountant or a tradesman or a welder or a mechanic, you see a group of people just perpetuate their childhood by going to college for jokes of degrees, and then their entire life is also then panhandling, this time probably for government aid or a government grant, but they too are miserable people. And now this kind of goes all over the place, but you see it especially pronounced in colleges. Their purpose and meaning in life is not being a good mother or a good father or a productive member of society. It's that they advocate ideologies or religions or political religions of parasitism, of theft. Proud socialist. What, you're a proud beggar? And they'll dress it up different ways with different colors. Like, oh, I'm a feminist. Okay, so give me money because vagina. I'm an environmentalist. Give me money because I don't want to be engineer. Because, planet going to die because you work hard. Ethnic studies. Give me money because I'm born this way. It doesn't matter. The excuse might vary, but the whole thing, when you translate it into English, is I don't want to work for a living. Give me money. Right. And it doesn't matter if you're genuinely destitute and poor, homeless, whether you got all the money in the world coming in either through government aid, welfare, or whatever else, or you are given money by your parents or the government or some unearned money. It's all unearned. You lack the work ethic. You're not going to become industrious. And so nobody else is going to invest in you. And so you go and try and find basically false idols, false gods. I'm not religious, but I'm just using it as an example to fill that hole in your heart. Because in the end, other people, we can all virtue signal. Oh, I care about this group of people. I care about that. I care about that. But when it comes to individual transaction, you waste my time. No, you're gone. If you're not doing something for me, you're out of here. And everybody else is the same way. So like girls, I'm for fat acceptance. Oh my God. Oh, big is beautiful. Ain't no guy's going to have sex with you. Oh, an employer. Oh, you see this thing. Oh, we so care about whatever the cause is. They're not going to donate money. They're not going to hire you. They still need you to work. But these people, and here, this is what. So great. You're alive. You're surviving. You are conscious and sentient, but you have no life. You have literally no reason to live for unless you are perfectly happy living for drugs or neats. Let's throw another group, living to play your video games, living off your parents' money or the government money or both, right? Okay. Get the stereotypical basement dweller. All right, fine. You got that. You're living. You have food and sustenance. There's shelter over your head. But what's your life like? And your life doesn't exist. You have no life because you've ignored that other conditioning, like I want to belong to a tribe or a group of people, a community or a family. And and sadly, not only are you too lazy, you're too unmotivated by the free money. Okay, because starvation would have done that. Hunger, starvation, threats of life from warring tribes, warring factions, that would have prompted you like, oh my gosh, here come the Greeks. Man, Alexander the Great is pissed. We better go fortify stuff. We better train up our men. We better do. Hey, does it look like the crop's coming in? We better go hunt something. So for better or worse, the threat of death, hunger, pain, starvation, poverty would have prompted people to work, produce, and be of value to society. And society would have rewarded you in community ways like, oh yeah, join the church. You're part of the group. We'll protect you. You can live in the village, or more directly for men anyway. Oh, here's a woman that'll have your kids and you'll have sex. But we know that's been abandoned, right, ladies? Right? You don't need right? Right. So now you're in the worst of both worlds. You're alive, but there ain't no reason to be alive. You just exist. And the reason I think it's torture, you think, oh, it'd be great to have everything paid for. Well, there'd be a lot happier. You go. I had to look up for like images, free images for for the thumbnail of this. Go look up poor people. Go look up welfare. Go look up single mom family. No one's smiling. No one's happy. I mean, if you want, you come on out to South Dakota. We'll go show you the panhandlers, Indian or not, right? But panhandlers, Indian or not, do they look happy? The only footnote you could add upon American Indians is, well, they get a bunch of stuff from the tribe and government, and it's still gone. It's still squandered. No one's happy. They're miserable. And if you'd like to see it where it's non-government money, but still unearned money, look at all the girls that have just had so much money through the government and the taxpayer and their parents and scholarships shoved into their careers and education. And this would be of the leftist variety. It's not like they have a real job like accounting or anything like that. Social workers. Are any of these Karens happy? Are any teachers happy? No. Because they never invested in other people or delivered what other people wanted. They lack the work ethic. They lack the threats of poverty, cold, starvation. And so they're in this purgatory, this twilight zone, this stasis. And to be perfectly honest, I think that's worse than death. Because at least with death, it ends, like now it depends on different philosophies of life and death. There might be an afterlife, but I'm just looking at it, I'm like, oh my God, that's a life of torture. And that's where I've come to this, if you want a new observation that is a true tenet law crystallized. I'm absolutely 100% confident about this, is that when you give charity, I've seen this happen to people. When you give charity, you are not helping these people. A lot of them say, well, we're not curing poverty, but we're helping them. No, you are just perpetuating their misery. You are perpetuating their pain. And whereas I hate parasites, especially the arrogant ones who say, well, you just benefited unfairly. No. Shut up. You had 5 kids from 6 different fathers and you majored in dumb crap and you committed crime. Don't blame me. All right. Whereas, so I hate these people, and I'm becoming to a wicked, sick, truly misanthropic, but most humans deserve this, is like, keep them alive. Because here's what would happen. One of two things would happen. If you cut them off, right? Say no more disability for your fake schizophrenic case. And in the case of the client's individual example, if his parents cut him off too, like he gets no help, one of two things is going to happen. Right? He's either going to, he is so truly crippled and disabled, no joke case of schizophrenia, he will die. He will be unable to function. But, and maybe that's the case, because schizophrenia, that's pretty legit. But, maybe you could fake it. Maybe. But what will happen in the vast majority of cases, if we introduce death, starvation, hunger, cold, and there is no bailout, right? They'll scream bloody murder, like you're the one that pulled the trigger. It's like, no, nature's going to kill you. We're merely stepping out of the way now. It's up to you. Most people, when it comes to an actual threat of death, they will magically get off their ass. They will magically show up on time. They will even go so far as to get a job. Now, they'll riot. They'll steal. They'll get mowed down. We'll go back to the old tribe days. But still, the threat of death is there. And if given a choice between death or life, most people's problems will go away. Now, when I was younger, I was an arrogant, cocky prick fresh out of high school. I did not have the selflessness. Wasn't that I was totally selfish, but I was unaware to the full extent of other people's sovereignty and sentience. And so I was an arrogant freaking prick. All right. But I had to get beaten down a little bit by the real world, and starvation did it very quickly. Like whatever attitude you might have had coming out of high school, if you don't get scholarships, if you don't get daddy's money, you don't get government aid, you're like, oh crap, I got to sleep, I got to eat. And as bad as that was, the worst part of my life, 147 pounds to 118. Thank God for it, because it anchored me in the real world. It developed my iron work ethic, even though I never made that much per hour. It got me to where I am today. And I mean, how could I put it? I still don't like people that much because you find out, but I am completely aware that in being something productive, whatever obscure way production happened to be now. I mean, back in the day, I was proud of being a good analyst. I was proud of being a good security guard. Very proud. I did a good job. That gave me purpose and reason in life. It also gave me something to look forward to in participating with the rest of society. And let's take something that, as I talked about before, a little bit of like quasi work. It's not really employment. It's not necessary, but you could start doing crafts and things. Ballroom dancing. Oh, you guys laugh. All right. Well, I didn't really do ballroom. I did salsa and swing. Now, did I get paid for it? Yeah, to teach it, but in the grand to learn it, no, I didn't. But it took work. You know, you had to sit down, practice the moves. You had to think about it. You had to reprogram, redesign your brain, musculoskeletal system, nervous system. And I became proficient at it. And then you know what? That was rewarded by society. Not that they came out with a band or a parade honoring my ability to teach dance, but society wanted to participate with me. Girls wanted to dance. There are dance events. You go out, you socialize. You are now part of a community. Now, maybe you're not going to pick up a spear and defend that community, but you belong to a group of people. You were participating in society, and that was living. You think you're neat? You think your trailer park bum? You think your Section 8 housing? You think the poor guy on the reservation? You think these guys have that experience? You think, no, all they have is the bottle or the booze, or what's even worse, victimhood politics, where now you add anger and rage and envy. Oh, it's that group of people or the corporations or the white man, whatever it is. And worse, it provides defeatism. So you're like, well, why, if let's say you really believed it, why would you get off your ass and do anything? It's pointless anyway. The white man or the corporations, the Republicans in the Senate are going to keep you from succeeding. And so now you're stuck, especially if you believe that leftist crap. Now you're stuck. And your entire life is that. Your entire life is drugs, whether actual drugs or a philosophical, ideological drug of woe is you, it's the rich, ba, 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 ba. No one, you don't belong to any community. I mean, yeah, okay. You live in Custer County. All right. You're an American. Okay. You are a Denver Broncos fan. All right. But you have no personal relationships because you're such a low value. You're not low value. You are a negative value person that no one is going to invest in you. And going back to the example of your buddy, like your parents, or not your parents, his parents, they don't really like that kid. They really don't. He's a parasite upon them, right? He's still living at home at whatever adult age, but they're tortured because it's their genetics. It's their son. That's their biology. And so now they are suffering a tortured aspect of life or a lesser life than they would. And so if you're looking for some kind of vengeance, if you're looking for some kind of balance or justice in the world for the parasites of society, this is it. They are tortured their entire lives. Tortured. Miserable. The people who live in tent cities, like, look, I remember patrolling in the cold overnight. I remember that. All right. Now, 10 would have been a little bit nicer, but to live at least at minimum, I had a dorm I could go to. I bought and paid for, but I could go to that. There was a shower. Some people are not only so afraid to work, but so addicted to the free money. And keep in mind, free money doesn't look at it again. Look at people who are on welfare, government housing. It's just enough to keep them alive, which means it's just enough so that they can feel pain. You're not helping these people. And so their cars are always breaking down. If they got a car, they got to wait out in the cold for the bus. They don't discipline their children. Children get in trouble with the law. Now you got to manage that. You have more kids than you could afford because you're too lazy to put on a condom. Now you got to pay child support. Now you got to deal with these kids. Oh, most people, they think, well, I don't have to work. And they think they don't have to work with the kids. But now you got human beings crying and screaming, and now you got to deal with them at least. And the life that these people lead is, even if you don't have the, okay, fine, you're on drugs, all right? You go to the food shelter, you go to you get government aid, whatever it is, but you don't have enough to afford rent because everyone voted in more free government money and prices and rents going on. Now you're in a tent city in a cold state. And what you could give them $1 million, it'd be gone. They're not going, oh, here's my opportunity. Now it's time to buy that, modestly priced duplex and rent it out. And I'll take the rest of the money and put it in a dividend returning index fund. And I'll take my monthly income and I'll get a good, reliable car. And no, they'll piss it away on some dumb crap. They'll give it away to family and friends. They'll piss it away on dumb crap. I mean, isn't it something like, what is it? What percentage of people win the lottery ends up, it's gone. And so the money only feeds a human body to keep a brain alive and a nervous system alive so they can suffer incredible mental pain and suffering because they're not participating in society and they're not doing anything and not filling their human purpose, or even physical because they didn't. Dude, if you gave me any amount of welfare, I would have been able to turn that around and not make millions like, Warren Buffett, but I would have been able to oh yeah, food, clothing, shelter. Here's where it goes. Cappy gonna break $130 in his weight this month. I'm gonna eat 2 meals a day. And I'd be happy. I'd be like, oh man. Remember when you were younger, you'd find $5 on the ground. Oh, the best day in the world. Tuesday, January the 24th. That's the day I found that Benjamin on the ground. It was a great day. We're celebrating it here on out. They don't even have that. They wake up. They wake up. How am I going to get through the day mentally? Well, there's drugs and there's booze. And then there's the other drugs, the ideological. They stew in hatred and envy of other people that the television, the Democrat parties and their teachers, when they did go to public schools, told them, it's those people's fault. That's the bad people. They're the ones that are keeping you poor. They get bored. They have sex. They don't wear protection. Now they got kids. Now they've just compounded their problems. And I've been kind of a little more curious, well, what happens when these people hit their 50s, 60s, and 70s? When the party days are over, and it's just one of poverty and applying for Section 8 and getting kicked out of apartments and maybe some crime, light crime, maybe not so light crime. Inevitably having to get some kind of job. You exhaust the social services, you end up in jail. And then, maybe you have kids, maybe you have grandkids. You don't know them. They're all. And then you know what happens? You die. And what was your life? Pure misery. Mental and physical pain. Your entire life. And I don't know, after all the years of self-pity and woe is me and drugs and alcohol or whatever, do you even have the self-awareness to realize you wasted your 50, 60, 70, 80 years of life on this planet? Do you? All the old grandma ladies with their cats living off of some pension or government money in New York City. I don't know why. Let's just go with New York City. And you had your heyday back in the 70s, girls. Come on, baby, light my fire. You were really cool at Club 54, weren't you? And now it's over. And your whole life was just, not that you wasted it. Oh, you wasted it. But it was pain and misery. And so that's the same thing that's going to happen to your buddy. You speculated, to keep up that act, that's got to be miserable. To convince yourself, pain and corroborating what I said before, you said he only gets what, $1,000 a month? That's not enough to live on. He has to live at home with his parents. Could you come up with could you hurt him more than what he and the government and the good Democrat voters giving him the money to keep that brain alive so you can suffer tomorrow? Could you hurt this? Could you come up with a worse hell? And that's the thing. What do I think about it? Yeah, he's scum. He's lying. And he's not using the money to improve himself like, hey, all right, I'm a straight white dude, which I don't know if he is or not. And I ain't getting no government cheese or government handouts, so I'm going to fake a touch of the Asperger's. Oh my God, Beauregard, fetch me my fainting couch and give me a scholarship. And I'm going to deliver those funds right into an accounting degree and get my CPA. And I'm going to phase out of my Asperger's. I'm going to go talk to a therapist, make a letter, and then I'm going to be done collecting the government check because it's too much a pain in the ass to even fake it like that to get the government check. And now I'm a stable income earner, and I belong to the CPA Society. I belong to the local jazz club. I found a girl and we had a family. Do. You get on with your life. You used it to go live. He's trapped. He's done. And he's too weak a person to get out of it. He is so afraid of work. He is so afraid of work. He will live that miserable, tortured existence before he goes and work. And I've always told lazy people, look, what you're doing now is harder, more painful, and more torturous than if you just go work at, not joking, a McDonald's. But they want to be perpetual little children. The response, it's not just the work, it's the responsibility of getting up and going to a place on time. They don't want to give up the idea that their lives could continue, like their entire life could be one led as children, where they don't have to worry about work and responsibility and all that. And you could say, all right, that's a worse life than if you just had the responsibility show up for a 9 to 5. They're not. And you know what? They'll placate it with drugs. They'll placate it with leftist politics. They'll placate it with booze. They'll placate it with anything at all because that's how afraid they are of work. And so it's misery. It's torture. I would say it's over. The only way to end this is to stop giving them free money so that starvation, hunger, poverty, and the threat of death pushes them to like, I got to get my act together, otherwise I'm going to die. But there's too many liberal white women that get off on like, I'm giving other people their money. Oh my God, here's some of my husband's money. Oh my God, I'm such a good person. Have the liberal white women helped out anyone yet? Have they helped out you guys? Have they solved one problem yet? I know, they just all need their doctorates. That's what it is. The masters were not enough. The 40 trillion we spent on the Great Society of Poverty was not enough. All the liberal white women need to get their doctorates in social work, and that'll solve the problems. What's great is, I stereotype liberal, any liberal person, leftist, who wants to give away charity, whether it's private or not, they don't realize they're just causing more pain and misery. And I'm going, oh, well, have fun. That unto itself is work avoidance. And I wonder if they ever get sad that like after decades and trillions of dollars, they have their entire careers in the social services has been squat. You haven't done anything, just made it worse. And I wonder if they understand my point that you're just causing more suffering and pain, and they might have guilt or some reflection. Nah, I'm such a good person. I'm such a good person. Don't know why a girl's doing that, but you get the idea. So yeah, the guy's scum. He's a parasite. Society voted this in. There's nothing you and I can really do about it. We can vote. Tomorrow you get to vote. Don't worry, the liberal white woman will vote to take more of other people's money away so she can have a job and feel good about herself without having to do any math. Don't worry, we're going to really help the poor this time. We'll get it right. But, okay, and then when we vote in, whoever we vote in, and we don't get rid of the welfare state, and we decide to give people more money not to work, what you should do is rejoice in the fact, not that you have to work, but that you're not these people, that you're not tortured, that you're aware. That's why I wrote sanity is the future of wealth, because you're sane. You got this one life, and the most important thing is spending it with other people and participating in society and having a life so that when you die, you're like, man, I didn't waste it. These people, again, I don't know if the drugs or their head being so far up their ass, like they're on their deathbed. I really wanted that, like people on the deathbed, like all you did was bitch and whine about how you didn't have enough of other people's money. Oh, boo hoo hoo! I'm going to sit here and panhandle my whole life. Like, do you have an ounce of regret when you're old? When you ladies are there watching The View and you're 78 and you get the heart attack and you're in New York at a government subsidized housing, do you look around at your cat and say, I wasted it? Do you, and then you die, and then 10 years later they smell the smell, or maybe 10 days later they smell the smell, and the cats eat you, and of course you're dead by that time. Do you any self-awareness? But there's your revenge. We lived. It's not that they died, they never lived. They only existed, and their existence was torture. It was pain. And that's I don't know if you were looking for vengeance. I don't know if you were looking for balance or justice, but God Almighty, there is, I mean, it's a lot. I would say it's almost too much. I can't imagine what it's like being a heroin addict, collecting welfare, blaming other people because you were born a certain way. I mean, that'd be like the triple effect. Like that tortured, miserable existence. I can't even imagine what it's like having one lie. I mean, watch, you're gonna get a frontline show to this. We all have a front seat show. Watching modern day Western women just not wanting family, not wanting men, generally speaking, placing career and work and taxes ahead of love and family. Just that one lie right there about something very important, obviously, point and purpose of life, that has made generations of Western women miserable. And even then you see the egotism, they'll double down on it, but you'll see it. And basically the shorter version is this: you cannot live a lie. Whether that's collecting a government welfare check, being untrue to yourself, thinking you're the center of the universe, you cannot live a lie and have a happy life. You just can't, or at least a productive life or a satisfying life. And so the ultimate punishment all these people are going to get is they had this life and they wasted it. They wasted it. All the things they could have done. Gone out and fish, gone out and ride motorcycle, go dancing, maybe meet the member of the opposite sex, have a little bit of sex, go to Vegas, do. They experienced none of it. Why? Because they're too lazy to get a job to afford a Spirit airline flight to Vegas, let alone have any money to gamble. And the good Democrat men and women of the Democrat Party, the good Democrats, the good American Democrats who vote, kept these people on life support so they could suffer more. So they could watch Jerry Springer in The View. They could listen to CNN or HMO. Republicans. Go into student loan debt. Be crippled financially for the rest of your life. Have a fat wife or a fat husband because apparently being thin is not. Hey, there you go. I couldn't come up with a more tortured existence. I could not come up with a more tortured existence. And so that's what's helped me understand life a little bit. And kind of the Democrats win and they vote in more free crap. All right, I'm fine. I don't need that much money. But you're going to take my money and give it to someone to keep them alive so their miserable existence is even more tortured? Okay. All right, let's go to the super chats if we have any. Donations will go to... What will donations go to? I know Power Paraglider, but that's next year. What is... I might get a new phone. Samsung's gone to pot, but I don't need it just yet. Hat and Clogs, $2 monies. Thanks, Hat and Clogs. Boy, a lot of comments today. All right, maybe it'll be... Oh, here we go. Bob, $5. Children listed a Cappy. Thanks to him, I was able to pay my student loan debt in months. I'm waiting if they're going to unblock Biden debt, though. Here, let me give you an example. Bob, you bring up. Do you have to worry about student loan debt? Think of the tortured existence that you are a 38-year-old, not you, I'm saying you're stereotypical 37, 38-year-old millennial. You're looking at 40. And your finances are dependent on whether the president or the courts or wherever it is now is going to give you $10,000 or $20,000 of other people's money. Now, that's a lot of money, but if you are almost 40 and $10,000 to $20,000 will make all the difference in the world, your life is over. Here's your $20,000. Keep making stupid mistakes. Like, think about that. Everyone think, like, now, unless you're really young or poor, that I get, because 20,000 early on would be a night, it'd be a life and death difference. I mean, night and day. But if you're over 30, how bad is your life that $20,000 is going to make all the difference in the world? It'll help, but it'll make all the difference in the world. They still have their crap degree. They still have no skills. They're still probably fat. They're still probably whiny. They're still probably, are they going to be happy? No, they're not. And $20,000 to keep them, that'll buy some more food, right? That'll keep them alive a little bit longer, right, though? Okay. They only got half their life left. Again, have fun. 7-Step Survival. Dustin, not Doug. Please subscribe to his channel. Guten Morgen, V. Gates. I recently heard you had an Oculus VR headset. I also had recently purchased one of these devices. However, the VR prawn has been extremely grainy. How are you watching yours in HD? I'm not, I play Pistol Whip and the golf game. I don't know where the porn is. As far as I can tell, you can surf Facebook because Oculus Quest is through Facebook. I had to set up a Facebook account. And when you shop, I see some friends of mine on Facebook, so I guess I could play over Facebook, but I have not looked at the prawn yet. I don't know where the prawn is. I don't know if I can even surf with my VR headset. Now, I think there's VR headsets you could plug into a computer probably, and then you just see what's on the computer. But as far as I could tell with the Oculus, that's through Facebook. And I really just downloaded to play some games. I didn't want to go look at prawn. I am curious to see what it would look like, though. But I have a feel. Oh my God, special guest celebrity T-Rash in the house. But if they're, what's it called, the metaverse, if that's any indication, man, is that going to be ass. The games are great, though. By the way, I love my Oculus Quest. I do. It's a fun platform. T-Rash is in. Don't forget, they will blame you for oppressing them, even though all you did was work hard for you. Right. Well, geez, you think? I'm lucky I got the house I did. I'm just lucky. Can't all be like you, Clary. Yeah, actually, you could. You could have not had the kids you had. You could have not majored in dumb stuff, and you could have worked essentially 2 full-time jobs for most of your teens and your 20s, and a significant amount of your 30s. You could have done that, but you chose not to. And you know what, T-Rash? Let them stew. Let them stew in envy. Yeah, you're right. I got more than you. I'm not even going to tell you that I work more than you and you're poor or disadvantaged, whatever it is, because of your own stupid choices. You're right. I got more than you. I sleep in more than you. I have better coffee than you. I have a better life than you. Suck it. You could have done this at any time. I didn't get in your way. You're just a whiny little quantahaha. Unless actually, like disabled or a mental learning disability. I get that. But no. Okay, be envy. Go get pissed off. I don't care. Bob, $2. The Supreme Court won't strike down affirmative action. No. Okay. What do I care? Okay, we're going to tell people with different color of skin or gender or whatever traits, hey, you should go do this thing. And think about it. No one ever asked it. It's incredibly insulting. We use this example yesterday. We need to get more black men in hockey. What if black dudes don't want to play hockey? We need to get more women in corporate positions of leadership. What if they don't want to? But we need no. But then the people believe it. I need to be a bitch boss. I need to get my MBA. And then you go into something that you really don't want to do. Jordan Peterson talks about all these powerful women in their 30s and their career and everything. I just wanted children. Who did it hurt? It hurt them. You didn't get a family. Your Baron got no eggs. No more eggs. She ain't got no eggs. All dried up. There she is, 39. Trying to, I don't know, do something stupid like have herself some kind of internet celebrity career. Like, hey guys. Hey, you the girl that ain't got no eggs. No more eggs. She all dried up with no eggs. No more eggs. But you do have a master's degree. All right. Because you believe the affirmative action. And know what really fears, what I really have a concern about is you tell everybody they could do everything. That's the lie they told us all. What if you're some young kid and you're from whatever, ghetto barrio, whatever like that, trailer park. I'm really intelligent. Like, no, you ain't. You got an IQ of 85. You're a moron. But my teacher said I'm really brilliant. I mean, heaven help you if you go to school for med school and drop however much money on that. Now you're freaking crippled. Although I guess that's what we did to every young person. Oh, yeah, you're all brilliant and intelligent. You should go to school for whatever you want. Hey, okay. I can't find a job. It's Donald Trump. God. There's another one. How miserable were people when Trump was in office? Whether they had a real job or not. Oh, my God. I want him back just for that alone. And he was a pretty bad president, in my opinion. Boy, that'd just be worth it if he got reelected. You just print off more money, but holy cow. Do you remember when the left just like blood pressure shot to the moon because he was in office? Yeah, okay, good. Hey, girls, go work. Go work some more. Just go work some more, late. Just go. You go, girl. We'll just sit here and chill out. Brenjan, 5 Canadian bucks. Thank you, Brenjan. I think that's it. Yeah, I mean, for everyone, take for those of you who are on welfare that don't want to waste your life, and you can believe, oh, the Republicans, the evil white men, the Jews, whatever, the corporations, you can believe that, but just try my way once, all right? And for those of you who are pissed off at the legit parasites who take about 40% GDP, 4 in 10 of your dollars goes to support other people. Don't envy them. They're not happy. They're tortured, literally tortured. And for those of you I hate to call it the left because it would require like some kind of consciousness, but for those of you like you're on welfare and you need government help and it's always somebody else's fault. Blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. Believe it's somebody else's fault. But you do know it's easier to just get a job and work, especially now. They're so desperate to. And by the way, if you have more kids you can afford, you're just plain effed. Too bad. So sad. It's over. Your life is over because those kids last 18 years. But if you're single and you didn't have kids, this ends tomorrow if you want, ends today if you want. Go become a truck driver, go into school for accounting, anything. Heck, they can't find people to mow yards and shovel driveways. We are done. All right, see you guys later, Toodles.